Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. This video is about Matthew 12:34 and objective facts. It is an objective fact that the Jews in the churches, for the most part, did not complain about Matthew 12:34. In Matthew 12:34, Christ is the character in the story, is said to have said, "You brood of vipers," a brood, right? A breed. "You brood of vipers. How can you who are evil say anything good? For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of." So Christ is saying to them, they're evil. Now, if Hitler is evil, right? No one's servant can be greater. Then the Germans in the Nazi army were evil as well, right? The psychiatrists, the various people who were reinforcing the social norms of Nazism were evil as well, right? So by saying to the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the teachers of the law and Herod and so on and so forth that they're evil, he's saying that everyone rolling with them, part and parcel, complicit with them, right, who's scattering with them instead of gathering with Christ are evil, right? One who slackens his work is brother to one who destroys. In their own book, Proverbs 18:9. One of the scriptures I cite the most, and to this day no one has a viable counterargument. It is an objective fact that if you are slack in doing the right thing, that you are helping people who are doing the wrong thing in a very strong sense. That's a universal truth. So I ask you all, what do you call a nation that is the richest nation in history? It's full of people who refuse to scramble for a logical plan to end homelessness, or more importantly, to scramble to obey the most righteous person that ever lived in that country that is evil and cruel and sick enough to persecute the most righteous person that ever lived just for mere human rules, customs, traditions, for their ego, for their narcissism, for their sadism. What do you call those people? Are they neutral? No, this is not a time of neutrality. Either you gather with the most righteous person ever lived, or you're some kind of punk, some kind of female dog, some kind of poorly raised piece of trash. There's no other way to look at it. So what I say to every country in the world, especially if they would dare utter a whisper against me, as they say, "You brood of vipers, how can you who are evil, evil enough to cheat me out of my right to lead, willingly or otherwise, destined or otherwise, say anything good? For your actions speak what your hearts are full of." Your very dark and callous hearts, your wicked hearts, your inclination, whether you are consciously aware that I'm here or not, is to cheat me out of my right to lead. Whether a snake knows what it's doing or not when it's about to bite a child, is it not evil? Does it not have an evil way about it? Would you not say that's an evil snake? Oftentimes when people kill snakes, they'll say, "You evil, wicked animal," and they'll kill that snake, right? But yet, when it comes to you people and the evidence that you have and your response to the situations you're in, you think that you're magically not evil? Let me explain one thing before I wrap this up. I went way over time here. In the Bible, when it says, "Why do you call me good?" Okay, there's only one who's good, and it's God alone, what have you. What it's saying is that Christ is a character in the story, as opposed to me, I'm all good. Christ is a character in the story. It's written in like a Greek way, where it's saying that part of him is God and part of him is man, and that part of him is a sinner. So when God is talking to him, that's different than this case. In this case, I tell the truth. I speak with pure reason. The things that I'm saying are right. Just like Christ is a character in the story, his sum total actions, the argument being made is that his sum total actions are trying to marshal people to do the right thing. Okay? And so the people wrote the story, worked for the governing class, and they're trying to confuse you. That's why in John, I believe it's John 16, Christ is a character in the story, says, "There's going to come a time when I speak plainly," and I'm speaking plainly right now. But the scum who made the Bible, they wanted people to think that they don't understand what's right and what's wrong, so they could tell them what to do. And so they could confuse them and say, "How do you know that?" "Well, torture him. He's not doing what the emperor says." "Well, all these other churches say different." So they could say things like this instead of using one universal and objective truth. The way, the truth, and the life. So they wrote it in a way to confuse, so they could use, confuse, and abuse for the ruse, for the scam. But me, I tell the pure truth. This is not some Bible scam where they say to the righteous, you show yourself faithful, to the devious, you show yourself shrewd. No, to everyone, I show myself as righteous and trying to warn you to do what is precisely right in a very clear-cut manner. It's even called clear cut. When females say that they're dating someone, they might say, I'm seeing someone, something, some total, someone, the alpha. They're supposed to be seeing the point of reference so they can understand who to date based on that. And as you cover me up, you are the enemy of God to the extreme. Everything I say in my videos is extremely virtuous, and there's no other way to look at it. Everything you people do as the kindest acts of the wicked, and rebels are wicked, are cruel, is extremely evil. So I'm going to end this by asking you again, what do you call a nation that's the wealthiest country in history that could easily end homelessness for just a fraction of a percent of the richest wealth? Okay, they wouldn't even miss the money, but they refuse to do so because they're arrogant and the population is full of fucking cowards. What do you call that nation, if not evil?